select, so we'll pick that up maybe during the game. But for now, let's look at what the champions are going to be locked down for game number 3.
One important thing to note, folks, we were talking about a specific pick a couple times in Champion Select here through the first couple of games of the day, and that is the Xayah, the consummate counter pick into the Kai'Sa that is banned away in this game. Important to note, Xayah, in fact, disabled today, so we won't see anybody playing that. Appears there is a bug, so it is not available to be played today, but we do see a heavy focus towards that bottom lane here in the bans, and then the Maokai locked in right away from INTZ. Important to note, Sejuani banned as well as Vi and Ivern.
Okay, so the Maokai comes through first. The Nico finally gets locked in. Let's go Liberty.
Rudy.
Finally. Has a 0% win rate in the CBLOL, as we got to see there. 0 victories.
Yep.
But I still think this champ is turbo bonkers, so broken. It doesn't matter that you can, oh, I can react to the ulti now. Great, cool. But if I have no flash, I have no Gale Force, I still get hit by it. So what's the use of seeing my demise 0.75 seconds sooner? Laning phase is still very powerful. Avenger being a player that I'm looking to try and exploit that laning phase. And paired up with Ace's Wukong. One of the things that we've been talking about for Liberty and that I need to address quickly with this style of draft is that their early games are always really, really good. If we stopped games at 15 minutes into the game, they'd be second in the league because they genuinely have the second best CS or gold differential at 15 minutes in the league. Fortunately, we get past 15 minutes and they lose games.
And a quick question for you here as we continue to run through picks, Rudu. Who's in first place? In GTA 15?
This is the issue, because INTZ is actually first in goal difference at 15. If there's one team that can go toe-to-toe with Liberty in the early game, it would actually be INTZ, and this stat absolutely shocks me, because they are a team that I thought would be very measured, very controlled through their early games. But with that, I think comes passivity and not a willingness to make plays. Yampi is just completely different from that. He will be a controlled, measured jungler whilst finding advantages.
Yeah, important to note that INTZ's gold difference at 15 more than twice as much as Liberty. Liberty right at about 300, 740 is where INTZ is ahead at 15 minutes. Getting through the first phase of picks, Maokai, Jace coming back once again in that rel that continues to pop up and has been incredibly effective so far today, 2-0 in today's game. Important to note, on the Liberty side, they do take the Nico. The Wukong coming through for AC should be good, give him a lot of agency in the early game and definitely in team fights. And then the Alistar picked up there for Woz, and that means that we're going to see likely a heavy focus towards the bottom lane here, and we've already got it. Varus and Ashe banned away.
Rudan's Hurricane and a Jinx go so crazy for either of these bot laners right now.
Certainly.
Because we've got massive AoE wombo combo from Liberty with just 3 knockups that are all massively AoE. INTZ, if they've got an AD carry that can shred through that big front line, obviously that would be great, but for Liberty side, if Juliera can pick the Jinx and then just manage to rattle out damage left, right and centre, there's no problem with that. A Jinx Aphelios trade certainly wouldn't be something I would be surprised to see, as we get to see the Samira taken away, a very common pairing with the Rel and a bit of an adage to Ninja Kiwi, I'll say.
Definitely. Surprised that, you're willing to let the Aphelios go through because, as you have rightly pointed out multiple times over the last few weeks, they keep quote-unquote nerfing Aphelios, but the 200 years remains, and it looks like it might be the lock-in here for Juliera on Liberty to pair alongside that Nautilus. So look, you've got the engage tools, and now you've got the carry to perform right behind them there. Juliera on a wonderful pick.
Who could have seen this one coming? Surely not everybody who's ever watched CBLOL, the Aphelios getting locked in. And I'm loving this composition from Liberty. It just screams death ball. They've got top lane counter pick as well, so they can round out their composition with probably a tank. They've got a decent front line in the Alistar and the Wukong, and not necessarily the most innate sustain there with a Ziggs coming through.
Whoa.
This is Ninja Kiwi Ziggs down in the bot side. If you ever want to neutralize a lane, you pick Ziggs. This champ wave clears like no other, and you can move near around the map. They picked the Olaf for top prio. This is a big gauntlet thrown down by ZZK. Kiari has been a very powerful carry top laner. ZZK in this split as well has stepped up in that same facet. I expect to see carry versus carry and damage on the top side.
I love it, especially because I felt like ZZK was one of those players on this INTZ lineup that coming into this split, a lot of people had questions about, and were like, can ZZK step up? We really weren't impressed with his play last split. ZZK has answered the bell big time, has had a ton of carry performances, a big reason why INTZ has been so successful. Interesting to note the last pick for Liberty giving Chiari that Gnar matchup in the top lane. It has been a very popular pick, you know, just to be safe, to absorb pressure. We've seen Wiser do it a ton. We saw it in our first game of the day today for Tay. We'll see if Chiari can do it here up against INTZ. This is a tough test for Liberty, looking to put their second win on the board. It's been a while since they got one. They'll have a tough test here against INTZ.
Topside versus botside compositions. INTZ very focused towards ZZK, allowing this Olaf to try and flesh out an advantage in the top lane. Same to be said for Liberty with the fact that Chiari's picked this Gnar. Very safe, very stable top laner that allows you to expend resources down on that bot side. Get the CBLOL Aphelios to its power point, hitting items that he's just going to murder your entire team with. Love to see that we've got an Aphelios back in the CBLOL teams, recognizing its power, recognizing its strength. And worth noting as well how powerful their dive on a 3v3 actually is. Alistair, one of the best champions at diving turrets. As soon as he gets level 6, he can just pop that ulti, takes 50% reduced damage from every incoming source, and turret dives become trivial.
Trajan, the final word to you, my friend, as we get into game 3.
I must say, guys, it's a bold choice to not give Ninja Kiwi a hard carry at this point, and also take a Jace as well that doesn't scale super hard, and an Olaf that doesn't scale super hard. So, I don't know. Having lanes like this, and then giving Ninja Kiwi a Ziggs, which the damage scaling out of this champion is not bad at all, but it is not team fight hyper carry damage, so it's a bit of a gauntlet INTZ have thrown down in bot lane as well, and I can't wait to see how it works.
It's certainly going to be a fun one. Getting on to the Rift, folks, for our third game of the day. INTZ coming off of one of the weirdest games you may ever watch in League of Legends just a day ago. Liberty coming in off of a loss yesterday, looking to get their second one of the split. It's been tough. Look, you know, Trajan asked you at the top of the day, Rudude, when we looked at the standings, who felt out of place for you? And I would say my answer would have been Liberty. Now, I don't think they're necessarily like a top 4 or top 5 team, but for me, their record does not match the quality of play we've seen for them. I think they have played at least good enough for, you know, 3 or 4 wins, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to get it done. We'll see if they can do it here today.
And I want to look at how we're going to expect to see them doing that, right? They've got the Alistair to try and facilitate some dives, facilitate some engagements. You've got AC on this Wukong as well. Another very proactive jungler. The ZZK, wow.
Okay, flash for flash in the top lane. The axes will land. ZZK playing aggro, spends both of his summoner spells at before a minute and 30 seconds in the game.
The waves haven't even crashed. I'm flashing on enemy top laner. Let's go. I love this proactivity from ZZK. Just like, if I'm going to assert lane dominance, I'm going to do it from the get-go. You face check me, you're going to pay for it. You need to see what AC's pathing looks like now, because this top lane, it is going to push in favor of INTZ, which means that there's a very real gank opportunity for that Wukong nice and early. You can already see a couple little skirmishes coming down on that mod side. We don't frequently see Ziggs, Yeso. I do want to touch a little bit on what this Ziggs does as we see level 2's hits. No engagements, hopefully. Stop it, was. So if you're a fan, obviously, of other English major region broadcasts, you will be a little bit more familiar with the Ziggs as of this week. APA made his debut in the LCS, had been a big player of the Ziggs in Challengers League, and pulled it out on the LCS stage just this week. What it does very well is A, wave clear, B, push turrets, and C, actually a lot of damage when set up with CC. Nia has got a lot of lockdown with the Rel, and that in tandem with a big Mega Inferno Bomb is a lot of damage to come down onto your squad. So look for team fights for INTZ, look to see those 2 ultis layered up from the bot laners, and a big explosive damage output.
Yeah, and then, you know, just that combo in itself, very difficult to deal with. Add a Nature's Grasp and a Twisted Advance Maokai coming at you, and it's going to be difficult to avoid all the bombs that Ninja Kiwi is going to be tossing out in these team fights. So keep an eye on the bot laner here for INTZ. Early push for Avenger. Very curious to see how this Neeko performs. You talked about the nerfs that we have seen, but Rudude, it seems like you're still firmly in the camp that you think Neeko is more than viable and should be maybe picked more often than we have seen her. Why have we not seen it as successful in CBLOL so far? Yeah, that's going to be the flash twisted advance, and you know the Gnar cannot get away. That is first blood for ZZK.
Remember, no flash on Kiari. As soon as that double jump is burned, Yampi knows he has free license to flash on the Gnar, get an advantage for the Olaf. The wave is in a beautiful position as well, so ZZK can base and walk back up to that top side with a big wave waiting for him underneath his turret. Exactly what we wanted to see from INTZ, focusing that top side, facilitating ZZK, getting him to a point to carry.
All right, now talk to me about the Neeko. Why
Yes,
is the Neeko
yes.
0-2 when it was even more OP when it got played?
You know, I can't tell you why it's 0-2. What I can tell you is why it's still very strong. So the nerfs that came through... Oh, so Neeko, let's take a little timeline. Gets a rework, patch 13.11, is the most OP champion in the game, got through 2 champion selects, lost both games, where it wasn't banned away. Patch 13.13 receives a nerf, we're playing on that patch right now. The nerfs are 0.75 seconds added to the reaction to flash away from her ulti if she's in a stealth or a disguise to somebody else, and just a little bit of damage off of her Q in the laning phase. Now Avenger is stepping up very aggressively to use that Q and try and poke people out, but my theory is, the reason I think this champion is still very, very strong, is that the Q had such incredible base numbers in the first place that the 10 damage, I think it was, that they took off of it means nothing. You can see already Avenger putting very good use to this Neeko, bullying out Nosferas in the laning phase, to the point that INTZ have to send 3 people here to get Nosferas a recall.
Yeah, and the one good thing there for Avenger when Yampi shows up is that has the information that Maokai has no flash, so doesn't need to be all that concerned about that flash twisted advance, able to easily walk away to River, does get a little bit of support from his team, and will eventually go for that recall. Does have teleport available to get back to lane if he so chooses. Nosferatu did spend his earlier, so has to take the long walk back to mid.
And again, to emphasize how much of an advantage Avenger had been putting out, Avenger hadn't based that whole time. So Nosferatu had a laning phase, gone back to base, built his tier, teleported back. Avenger had done nothing of the such. But then another sort of section of the laning phase commenced, and more advantages going over to Avenger. He's out trading the Jace once the Jace had a recall.
Something tells me, yeah, Nosferatu is not going to have a fun time in this mid lane for a while. It's really going to come down to whether he can start hitting those empowered shock blasts, trying to push Avenger out of this lane. But at least early on, the Neeko looking good. We're also going to get in there for the headbutt. Pulverized is able to chain the stun there onto Nia. Ignite is going to come through. One more auto from Juliera might be enough, but can't get in range for it. So Nia will survive. Ninja Kiwi able to protect his partner there in the bot lane.
Well, I think he knows. Yes. The point of playing versus Neeko, and again, this is a little tip for everybody at home. If you're playing versus a Neeko and you don't see her on the map, press tab. If she's highlighted, then you will know that the Neeko is somewhere on Summoner's Rift, probably one of the minions that is ganking your lane. If, however, she's grayed out and has a little question mark next to her name, means that she's in Fog of War, and even disguised as a minion, that won't show up. You will see her as a highlighted champion that you can see on the map, even if she is not showing on the minimap because she's disguised.
Dang. Rudude's tips, Rudude's Baron buff. We're getting
the economy
all
Baron
the
buff.
trademarks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
We're getting them all today. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Nia with this early roam to try and get Avenger down. That is going to be the ultimate from the Neeko. Good damage traded back there.
Dodge.
The empowered shock blast misses, and that likely keeps Avenger alive. But the bottom lane, it's Ninja Kiwi in the 1v2 against the kill of Juliera.
This guy does not miss, be it performances in hyper carries or as a Ziggs in a 1v2, coming out on top, absorbing not just a ton of pressure in the bot side because he's isolated, but also turning it around, finding himself a solo kill isolated. What can't Ninja Kiwi do at this point?
Oh, Yampi back up to the top lane. The hop will buy a little bit of distance, but not nearly enough. The CC locks the Gnar down, and that's ZZK with his second kill of the game.
Yeah, we said Liberty are a very good early game team. AC has been very proactive on the map in games gone by. Unfortunately, it's just not the case today. Yampi on this Maokai has made 2 visits to the top lane, found 2 kills. And with this gold lead already for INTZ, you start to question how Liberty are going to make any sort of plays through this game. My looks to get an advantage is to keep trying to bully out this mid lane. It's the one real source of power that Liberty have got at the minute, because everywhere else is just at doomsday situations, because Olaf's got 2 kills over the Gnar, Ninja Kiwi's been left alone forever and feels absolutely fine to solo wave clear because he's playing Ziggs. The only place that you're looking at for Liberty to try and find any sort of advantage is around Avenger.
ZZK is very quickly approaching that breakpoint where nobody can match the Olaf in a side lane, and that is going to create a lot of problems for Liberty, because ZZK is going to be looking to just tear apart structures in this game. Meanwhile, cute little minion there doing work. Look at that little guy. Shock Blast will land. Good bit of damage. Let's take a look at the replay here from Ninja Kiwi and how he got this kill onto Juliera.
So imagine he flashes Wasp combo and somehow Juliera takes aggro.
Oh.
Not even. Wow, okay.
That was clean.
So, yeah, you just clear a wave, and then unfortunately it is Juliera who takes aggro. I will say, had flash, expended, or decided rather, not to use it. So, it's a conscious decision there from Juliera not to burn your summoner spell, and maybe just thinking that he was going to juke out on it is an oversight on his part, but it is one of these slight missteps that we see from Juliera on occasion.
Unfortunate there. Make sure you stick around the rest of the broadcast, folks, because we've got an absolute banger to end the weekend. Loud and Pain, a rematch of our back-to-back finals. At the end of the day today, Pain winning the first time around when they faced off to kick off the split. We'll see if they can keep that rolling here today, or if the Loud winning streak continues. Mid lane, that is going to be Rift Herald charging in to get some plates for INTZ. They're building up to now a 1,500 gold lead at 10 minutes.
Oh no. Well, you thought you were going to get an advantage in the bot lane, and granted, Juliera so far has apparently taken 3 plates away from the 6, so, you know, kudos on that front. But the Mega Inferno about the wave, Ninja Kiwi doesn't actually miss out on any real experience, any real CS. And now with the Ziggs moving about Summoner's Rift as well, he managed to secure a plate in that mid lane as well. You're starting to think of how can INTZ leverage this Ziggs to start breaking open the map, because that's the other thing that Ziggs does very well, is take turrets. Rank 1 W deals 25% of a damage, or 25% damage to turrets if it's in execute threshold. So if you can move your Ziggs around Summoner's Rift, get him a lot of gold, that's your way to start breaking open the base and really accelerating into the mid game.
Nostro's going to clear out this wave. Looks like Liberty trying to get a little bit of priority towards this first Drake. 11 minutes in. None have been taken. They've had a lot of prio in bottom lane, but the wave clear and the pressure that INTZ have tried to relieve in this mid lane has kept Avenger and AC from combining for that early Drake. We'll see if they can maybe change that here, as it seems like almost the entire map is starting to group around this mid lane.
Yeah, I really like this from INTZ, because this is the one area of the map that they know that they're not having the best of times in. Top lane's fine on its own, bot lane fine on its own. Let's just make sure that Nosferus can also farm up, make sure that Avenger's lead isn't starting to get out of hand, and just put this work, or put this mid-game squad in a very tricky position. You feel it's just going to scale well into the late game, but you're looking at the Nico to have those big pop blossoms around those neutral objectives, but it's not going to be necessarily as easy as they might have hoped.
It is a very good sign for Liberty that despite ZZK getting 2 kills top, he is not leading in terms of gold. It is, in fact, Jorfelios, the AD carry, who's been farming up in the bottom lane. Nature's Grasp coming through. They've caught out AC, and down goes the Wukong. They're maybe looking for more, but Avenger, that is the flash in. The ultimate will catch a few. Yampi running for the hills. Kiari has arrived to assist. Twisted advance. He's going to stay alive a little bit longer. The Nico is down. Ninja Kiwi flashing away, but he's taken out. Well played there, but that is a very angry Olaf chasing down Waz. He's going to finish him off. It's a double kill for the Olaf, and ZZK and INTZ are up 7-2.
4 kills for 2 in the play. INTZ commit all resources into the mid lane and come away with an expected team fight victory. ZZK's presence from that top side, you were just praising Kiari for his ability to neutralize the Olaf. Unfortunately, that doesn't extend to the rest of his team when he's already got a couple of kills in his back pocket. Let's take another look at how all of that unfolded. It's a play initiated by Liberty. And honestly, just a great flash from Nosferus makes him get out alive. You got to see a little glimpse there of the Magnet Storm plus Mega Inferno Bomb combo. You get to see an even bigger glimpse of what the Nico can do in team fights. Unfortunately, not enough damage coming out. When you see Juliera walking in here, thinking, oh wow, maybe he can be the difference maker, but INTZ also recognized that double solo laners go on top of the AD carry, and that guy's got absolutely no hope of surviving.
It looked good when you get that multi-man Nico ultimate, but unfortunately, as soon as ZZK arrived in the fight, it was just about untenable for everybody on that Liberty lineup. They get absolutely torn through. They are going to get the Drake here ultimately. The focus from INTZ on that mid lane tower. So that will be the trade. First tower gold there for the side of INTZ. An Ocean Drake for Liberty.
A bit of attention turned toward this bot side. INTZ, they're collapsing with 4. Chiari. Okay. Okay, everybody makes it out. A little bit of tentative footing from both of our sides. Top lane, we've got a current lapse of judgment from Liberty. ZZK has got a bit of a free timer on there. You know, the Ninja Kiwi rather is going to be able to more than happily clear out that mid wave on any wave. And with the Olaf continuing to snowball, continuing to farm up, Ninja Kiwi in trouble.
That was what I was waiting for. The Nature's Grasp to come through. They do delete Ninja Kiwi. That kill goes to Juliera. The trade back is for Avenger. So 1 for 1 in that mid lane. Meanwhile, ZZK working his way through this top lane tower. Chiari looking to take a bottom lane here. So it'll be a 1 for 1 trade in terms of towers. INTZ remain in the lead, and they double up on the tower plates. All of those plates going to Juliera, but INTZ wins the battle in the end.
Really, really nice play from Liberty. The one way that they can start to knock down these turrets is if Ziggs is off the map. Ziggs very good at wave clearing, not 1 but 2 waves when he's got the Mega Inferno Bomb. So taking him out means that there's a bit of free time for Chiari as well, and a swift kill back onto the Ziggs. And you could see just perhaps a little bit of unfamiliarity, or unfamiliarity necessarily, and lack of comfort from Ninja Kiwi there. The satchel charge that he put down as his attempt to escape was actually on the wrong side of him. So he didn't boop himself back in. It was actually so far away that he wasn't even in range of it to begin with. So it's, again, one of those things where if you've not played the champion for a little while, you might overestimate what you can get away with. But Ziggs does have that safety tool, and unfortunately Ninja Kiwi not quite able to utilize it there.
We'll keep an eye on how that Ziggs continues to look for INTZ in this game. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, ZZK, his eyes set on another tower. Maybe Chiari's life here if he stays a little too long. Woes there in his back pocket, but they will spot out Nia in the jungle. And the Rift Herald is going to be dropped, so this tower will fall. It will not consume any health from this Rift Herald, so they'll get the free charge here, it looks like, on the tier 2.
Yeah, and you can see there, Mega Inferno Bomb used top lane to clear that wave out. Avenger not able to cross map effectively. It's going to be a long time before any waves hit there. Immediately teleport back down because he knows his play is over. Liberty tried to go for a 5-man down on this bot side, but they're going to get Maokai ulted, rooted up in place, and it's just a win for INTZ.
I love that Yampi essentially Nature's Grasps there just to secure the charge from the Herald. Yeah. It says, I know you guys want to come and poke the eye. I'm just going to drop my ult. We're going to get the charge, and then on the next wave, we're going to look to push this tower as Nosferus continues to poke with the Shock Blast, and Ninja Kiwi is here.
Up, couple auto attacks, throw your spells, couple more auto attacks, W, bomb.
Bye-bye.
It's kind of crazy. You know what the worst thing is as well? You don't need to put levels into Zeke's W, but when you do, the percentage threshold goes up even further. So you can get it up to, I believe it's 35%. Execute threshold on your Ziggs W. I will double check because that's a bonkers number, and I'm like, I'm kind of scared if I'm right.
You know what I'm scared is that you check and it's even higher than that.
Yeah, we can only hope.
That's what really terrifies me. But yeah, I mean, look, INTZ playing to the strengths of their composition right now, moving around the map. Ninja Kiwi ensuring with that Mega Inferno Bomb that there aren't significant split push threats from Liberty. Nosferus hitting a lot of the poke with the Empowered Shock Blast, and Yumpy just continuing to use his resources to keep Liberty at bay. And INTZ just continues to lay claim to more space on Summoner's Rift, and Liberty, they're just getting bled dry right now. There's a good look at this gold lead that has grown throughout this game.
Yeah, that's just not nice to look at if you're a Liberty fan, unfortunately. It is 35% off the top of my head. Got it, nailed it. More than a third of a turret's HP. You take down 2/3, you've taken down the whole thing, and that's why Ziggs can be so obnoxious. Typically, you're not going to hit that until level 18, though. It is worth mentioning you want to put more points into the E so that you can do more damage as the Ziggs and as the carry for the bot lane of INTZ. But you can see Ninja Kiwi not too disheveled really in his earlier mid-game pick. More than happy picking up. And with the constant priority that they get in the mid lane, Liberty walking into this river, very dangerous for the Libertines. Remember, they've got to make sure that they can secure vision around this Baron so that it doesn't just get taken away on spawn. We're still 90 seconds away from it, but INTZ is so far ahead that feels like it won't be too long before that goes down.
And important to note, Ninja Kiwi soon going to hit a nice big power spike. Does have that Ludens already in the inventory, but sitting on 2 needlessly large rods means there is a Rabadon's death cap on its way, and this Ziggs poke is going to become very, very annoying here as both teams starting to group up. Second Drake is live. It is a Hex Tech Drake, and it appears both teams want to battle for this. Interesting from Liberty, you know, you got the first Drake, but you're down 5,000 gold. I don't know that this is a worthwhile endeavor. They're backing away for the time being.
Definitely not. Like, you know, we are taking 1 Drake for potentially just losing out on Baron, I guess, and the setup around the Baron. It's just not worth it. You're quite right. Just breaks it. You don't even know what soul it's going to be yet. If they roll Cloud here, then Liberty aren't particularly bothered. But the soul is just a little bit closer for INTZ. The likelihood is we're not going to get a soul this game. INTZ are probably going to have ended the game before they even get to soul point at a push. They would love an Infernal Soul. It's worth mentioning the Rabadon's Rush for Ninja Kiwi goes very well with Infernal Dragons. The more percentages that you get, or the more flat AP that you get from the Drake, the more percentages that you get from the Rabadon. So it's a multiplicative bonus that double stacks.
Very good spot for INTZ to be in right now. And yeah, I think you make a great point. It is highly unlikely that we see a soul this game. 20 minutes in, and we only just saw the second Drake taken down. Still that 5,000 gold lead here for INTZ, and they're just systematically working their way through the map. 2 towers knockdown in the bottom lane, and that means that we're probably very close to seeing ZZK slapped in that bottom lane to split push and starting to see this dance around the Baron from INTZ. It is important to note, however, no teleport available for ZZK. So if you want to put a teleport in that split push, it's going to have to be Nosferus or Ninja Kiwi.
Yeah, and I think that's the little bit of a drawback that we're seeing from the Olaf, and you can see that INTZ have respected that. Nosferus is the one down on that bot side, but his ability to bully are not nearly as present. Kiari's actually mid first.
Ninja Kiwi in a bit of a rough spot there as Kiari looks to step forward, but does have the support of his team, and the Nature's Grasp comes through. Liberty has to back away. Wo's taking a lot of damage. Mega Inferno Bomb thrown on top of 3. Wo's taking a lot of damage. Julier flashing under the tower, but ZZK has arrived and sends him to his grave. A gray screen for Juliera. That is a 1-for-0, and it's all INTZ need to turn their attention to Baron.
That's an angry Olaf. ZZK just rolls out of top lane. Oh, okay, I guess I'll kill the AD carry again. No harm, no foul. Juliera used Gale Force, used Flash. Doesn't matter, the Olaf chases you out regardless. AC dead.
Wow.
Nosferus doing great job at just anchoring the Baron pit. INTZ, this is just textbook.
This is the kind of play that you want to see INTZ. If you're doubting INTZ, them coming in against a 1-8 team and just very systematically picking them apart, clean macro play, taking good fights, playing on their power spikes is exactly what you want to see. And this is an INTZ, I feel like, Rudude, that is trying to make up for some of the sloppy play that we saw from them yesterday after that huge lead that they built. They're looking to close this one out clean.
And again, I remember like when I was speaking about INTZ and you told me the stat in the green room that they're the best early game team, I was baffled because nothing that INTZ have done this game has been, I will say, necessarily flashy. It's just all been goodly. It's just been them taking fights that they know that they can take and making sure that they're playing by the numbers. It's a very simple strategy. It's one that has proven to be very effective. And it's one that's going to probably let them a win here again.
And, I mean, if this is the kind of form that INTZ can maintain, things are going to get really interesting when we get to playoffs, when we start playing best of fives. I want to see this team in the postseason. I'm buying in big time, folks. I mean, if you remember last split, INTZ finished with 7 wins in 18 games. They might get their 7th win in 10 if they can keep this going.
Asperus here with the poke was likely to just fall straight off the bat with an engage, but a great siege on this top tier 3.
Oh!
The car makes it out to safety. And you can see that was a decent enough effort at a disengage from Liberty, like a holding of their base. They clear out 1 cannon minion with Baron buff, but now they're going to have to do that again. And a reminder, Ninja Kiwi has got 2 points in that W. It's 27.5% threshold for death of that top tier 3 turret.
You can't milk those, Rudude. We'll see if Woz can get in here on the flank. Does get the headbutt polarized there onto Nosferus. And a beautiful ultimate. The shutdown there for Juliera. But it's all going wrong now. The health bar's disappearing for Liberty. It started well. AC looking to take down Yampy, but it's not nearly going to be enough. It's a triple kill for the Olaf, and just Juliera remains there. Huge Moonlight Vigil, but not enough afterwards to win Liberty the fight.
And Juliera's free hitting the whole time as well. Like, can't do more, unfortunately. The rest of the team, just how far behind Juliera is as well. They don't have the damage to fully beat out INTZ in a 5 versus 5. We've got ZZK free firing this whole time as well. And kudos to Liberty for taking a fight that they see that they can potentially kill out Nosferus as soon as possible. He doesn't really get to be a part of this fight. They take out the poke before it even begins. 4-man Infernum, as you mentioned, but Ninja Kiwi this whole time, free hitting ZZK, of course, immune to CC, able to just wail away on those front lines and take them out. 7-0, 8-0 after this kill. Like, legendary on the Olaf. The early resources put into this Olaf are definitely getting paid back.
And that one just stings for Liberty. It's a good setup from Woz and Avenger, but unfortunately, the Nico doesn't catch Ninja Kiwi or ZZK, and they're some of the biggest threats in these team fights, and it means that the Olaf just gets to run roughshod over your team after that fight. Yampy gonna drop that Nature's Grasp, and Kiari will not escape from it, but likely close enough to his tower, he will get away from trouble here in INTZ. Look at that. Ninja Kiwi and Nosferus, the richest people on the Rift. They're looking really damn good.
So that's not gold, that's damage.
Ooh, damn it.
And I know
correct.
this,
My bad.
and I know this because AC is decidedly low on that graph. 1500 damage the entire game.
Still working on my Portuguese, guys. Sorry.
I mean, I hope it's damage. Like, I don't know what else it could
I
be
think
with
you're
those
right.
numbers. We're gonna hope and pray that AC has only done 1500 damage for my own, let's say, intellect. But for AC himself, he's gonna be very, very sad when he looks back at these graphs and finds out that even when he goes forward, he's actually not doing any meaningful damage. And Liberty searching for another last stand. Their base is still intact. No turrets have yet been broken. It's getting closer and closer to that threshold where you're thinking, well, what can INTZ do to lose this game?
Watch the game tape from yesterday. I think we can
yeah, that's true.
find some things. I don't know. But right now, the focus is on that top lane inhibitor. They're utilizing these pushing waves in the other lanes. Of course, you know that Ninja Kiwi can certainly throw a Mega Inferno Bomb towards that bottom lane to continue that push if it gets a little bit closer. But the focus is top lane. Avenger looking for some sort of engage, but it is going to be the Magnet Storm there, and the engage from Nia laying down the Nature's Grasp on top means they're going to lock everybody down. You can't milk those, says Woz, as he'll get back to the safety of his base. Good Moonlight Vigil nearly takes down the Jace, but he will survive Juliera, doing his damnedest to keep Liberty in this game.
Base now broken open, and the saving grace for Liberty is that 6W doesn't work on inhibitor turrets, so only the short fuse passive is going to be absolutely ripping through those. Liberty, they keep a hold of all of their inhibitors. The Baron is live in 30 seconds. INTZ, they need to take their resets now, spend that gold, make sure that they are as strong as possible before heading to the big purple worm and hoping to close out this game.
Yep, and TP is available for Nosferatu, so you can just put him in the bottom lane. He's already down there taking his junglers. Krugs, something tells me he's going to go push a wave. Oh, he might look to group up with the team. I mean, you have options here as INTZ, because you're also definitely confident in your 5v5 right now, so you can also just say, hey, let's just group up and make Liberty fight us.
And why not as well, right? Like, They are just so far ahead. If you just play any game with a 5 versus 5 at this stage in the game, you're going to look good. You can already see Nosferus more than happy to pump out Poke as and when he so pleases. And for INTZ fans out there, when you're looking at a 6-3 team that is yours up against a 1-8 Liberty, this is the exact kind of game that you would hope for. Something of controlled, clean measure, more than capable of looking to close this one out. Off the back of yesterday as well, where it was a little bit shaky, this is exactly what you'd want to see. Now, they've still got to dot the I's, cross those T's. And Baron buff is alive. You expect to see them turn their attention to that, hopefully, quite quickly.
Rudude, you might not get the opportunity to answer this question depending on what happens here, as well as we'll
Ask it me anyway.
But pulverized. I need a little bit of Liberty copium here.
Okay.
How do they get back in this game? What are their paths to success right now?
It's Juliera hitting the Mondo team fight, and that's about as good as you can hope for, because Aphelios, we've seen it in the CBLOL, tear people asunder. Unfortunately, when Wasp goes in like this, there's just no setup for him.
That really kneecaps the engage from the side of Liberty, not having that Alistar available. You see AC on the top side looking to maybe find an angle to get in onto this Baron. Will be spotted out, though, if he walks through that tri-brush. Clone over the wall, looking to flash into the pit. Does get there just a little bit early, and he's going to get dogpiled by the team, and the smite is true from Yampi. Nosferus takes the kill. INTZ takes the Baron, and they turn their sights to the base.
Not the cleanest. I respect the effort from AC there. That was a 50-50, a chance that he steals that one away, but it's INTZ, it's Yampi there, fast on the trigger. More than capable of taking that Baron. And honestly, with a Baron up wave and a numbers advantage, odds are they look for a game end right here. Remember, Ziggs takes these turrets very quick. The short fuse passive also annoying to deal with. And the poke from afar just obnoxious as well.
And engages onto Nia. Aren't going to do you very much. That Rel is not easy to kill. And she is more than happy to have you stack up on top of her. And she has that ultimate available. INTZ going to back away. Good shock blast will discourage any chase there from Avenger. Baron empowered recalls. Get INTZ to safety, and they're going to play the slow game. They're not going to overforce and give an opportunity for Liberty to turn this game around. Definitely feels like INTZ learning lessons from their performance a day ago.
Yeah, I think they are just a little bit scarred. I might have liked to see them stick around there, see if they can poke out a little bit before opting into that turret fight. Now teleport expended by Liberty. They want to get this Drake. It buys them 5 more minutes, but a fight from INTZ afterwards could be very cursed.
Am I crazy? I almost want INTZ to take that so you can get early access to the Elder, the Nature's Grass, and everybody's getting melted! CZK is going off! It's a double kill for the Olaf, a clean ace for INTZ.
Yeah, good one, guys. You took the Infernal Dragon, now you lose the game. A classic TSM trade. We will take one dragon, you will take the game. Ninja Kiwi already teleporting in, short fuse passive doing work. INTZ again, numbers a game by the book. Clinical close.
That is quite possibly the most impressive win we've seen from INTZ so far this split. You can certainly say, you know, hey, they're playing